Where is he?
Work.
At work? What does Daddy do?
3, 2, 1. Engine start. Roll ignition. 1. And we have liftoff.
We in the military can't do what we're doing every day without the support of our family, our spouses, our kids.
Tell me about like unpacking. Okay.
Not one of my favorite things to do.
And what number of move is this for you?
15.
Military brat is a term used to describe children who have grown up in a military family. But if brat carries a bad connotation, why was this term chosen?
Because we're horrible, horrible people. I have no idea.
There are many predictions about why the term was chosen, but there's no hard evidence for one story or another. Perhaps the most compelling anecdote comes from an 18th century play entitled The Recruiting Officer. One song, Over the Hills and Far Away, first mentions brats and wives when talking about the families of married officers.
And shall lead more happy lives by getting rid of brats and wives. Hold on both the night and day, over the hills and far away, over the hills and over.
It was during this time that the children and wives of officers were housed in the barracks and taken care of through regimental funding. Even today, the government takes measures to ensure that the soldiers' families can live comfortably. Housing, health care, education, and even discounted groceries are some of the ways to provide stability and allow the military family to better focus on their duties.
Dental clinic is over here, but it looks just like everything else. So all the buildings pretty much look the same. And this is our officers club on this side. So they have a place in there that serves like buffet lunches and stuff. And most of our events are always at the O Club.
You grow up in almost like 1950s America when you're living on the base, right? It's such a small, closed community. And if somebody sees you doing something wrong, they are calling your parents. And everyone knows, you know, everyone knows.
Like some of them live in a town called Berryville. So I just explain it as like I live in a fenced-in Berryville with a really big airport and guys with assault rifles.
Currently, there are 1.9 million military children ranging from ages 0 to 18. That's 0.6% of the U.S. population. With over 1,000 military installations located all across the world, the already small population is spread even thinner. From living on a military installation to trying to say where you're from, this lifestyle is one that can be hard to explain.
It is a home within a home without a home. That's the military culture.
There you go. That was
you are you're somewhere where you've got neighbors you know and neighbors you don't know. You're in an area where everything is the same, but nothing is similar. And you're with people that all have the one basic thread that connects them, but yet your experiences are so vastly different. And so it's a home within a home without a home, because you're nomads just traveling the land.
The travel and the constant movement is one of the most defining features of a growing up military. It gives these children a wealth of experience and a deeper understanding of the world.
For our kids, I think they had more stamps in their passports by the time they were 5 than a lot of people do by their 30s.
Taking it back to Misawa, Japan, that's when the big earthquake. We were there when it happened, and I feel like most of the tsunamis and stuff, I think, were 30 to 45 minutes away from where we lived at, and I feel like that definitely changed how you see the world is whenever you're in a huge, massive thing that destroyed so many houses and so many lives.
Along with a deeper understanding of the world comes an ability to adapt to change. Frequent moves mean reassimilating to new communities and cultures every 2 or 3 years. By the time a military child has turned 18, they will have said goodbye to more people than the average adult will in their entire life. That has impacts on the child's ability to form lasting relationships, a sense of identity, and a feeling of belonging.
I tend to get very antsy if I'm in one place for too long. I'm used to traveling and moving so much that when after being in one place for a year or so, I'm ready to go again. And that impacts relationships. I found it really hard to stay in any consistent relationships for too long because I have that antsy feeling like I need change now.
I can walk up to those people and still remember high school and have memories from junior high and elementary. They won't have that.
And be able to go to more places and be able to meet more people.
What do you not like?
That I got to leave my old house and that I got to leave all the friends that I used to have, and I've got to learn different stuff.
Yeah. Is it hard making new friends?
Totally.
Yeah.
Outside of the loss of friendships and adjustment to a new home, relocation means children are bounced around to different school systems, each with new ways of teaching and grading.
Like, especially with math, like, I already struggle in math as it is, and then you have, like, all these different teachers, like, how they teach things differently, and, like, they teach at different levels, and not all schools are at, like, that level of teaching, and, like, they take things slower, like, this school, they go faster in it.
Family bonds become the most consistent thing in the child's life, but if deployments do not take away the serving parent, temporary duty, or TDY as it's called, will separate the families for weeks or months at a time.
I don't really want you like going.
I know you don't like when I go. But what did we talk about? That way, girls or boys are really smart and they can do great things, that it's their job to do those things, right?
You and your siblings are the only people that you have. They're your only constants. And so when your friend group is always changing, you just learn that your family is more important than your friends, because at the end of the day, they're the ones moving with you.
It's helpful having siblings, obviously. No matter what, I think throughout it all, we became best friends. So no matter where we go, even if we don't have friends at school, we have each other.
We had a few times where throughout our lives where he had to go, and he went to Turkey at one point for a long time, and he went to Korea for a year, which was I think that was the longest time we ever had to be without him. And unfortunately for us, we were going through a big move at that time. We were moving from Colorado to England. So when he was in Korea, my mom had to do the whole move by herself. I think through the deployments, you really learn what it feels like to be in a single parent home. It's difficult. You always want your parent there.
Well, how does it feel when mom goes away for a long time?
I miss her.
But how does it feel when she comes back?
I feel happy, and sometimes I cry because I'm so happy.
2 Navy ships pulled into their home port yesterday just in time for the holidays. Eager loved ones embraced their sailors for the first time in 6 months.
Unfortunately, not all families are lucky enough to see the return of their loved ones.
Friends of Sergeant Jabron Knox laid the fallen soldier to rest today in Fort Wayne. He was killed in action in Afghanistan a week and a half ago.
An emotional tribute to a man who was a hero on the streets of New York and on the battlefields of Afghanistan, and to his family. Harry Smith has the story of one final salute.
But it's the knowledge that what they're fighting for is bigger than themselves that makes the loss bittersweet.
To me, caring for something more, even if it doesn't care for you back. And what I mean by that is that he goes out every day and does what he does. Whether it's if he has to deploy somewhere or if he's flying here or there, and he's not necessarily he ain't doing it for a paycheck, you know. He really isn't. He's doing it because he wants to make a difference.
There were a lot of times through those deployments that my brother and I would get really angry, and we want someone to blame, you know, and my parents would explain to us, you know, he's doing this for a reason, and it's bigger than us. But I remember thinking, you know, I'm gonna call my dad's boss and tell him he has children that he needs to come home to. You're always gonna get that kind of sense of anger and wanting to blame someone, but at the end of the day, you know what they're doing is for something that's bigger than us, so.
In the military community, brat does not wear the same bad connotation as it does in ordinary life. Military children are proud of their upbringing. There's a richness and diversity of relationships they develop, the pride of being a part of something bigger than themselves from the time they're born, and the resilient attitude that nurtures the future success. It's a life unlike many others, one full of restrictions, frustration, separation, and loss, but one to be proud of, and where brat is worn as a badge of honor.